We're in the 21st century now. And the fact that you've been president of the organization for so long, how difficult is it sorting out what class action suits, what incidences of possible violation of civil rights incidences have happened? You get so many calls and complaints about police brutality, about employment discrimination. How difficult it is to be president and sorting out and having an executive committee and a leadership bank, sorting out those legitimate cases and those winnable cases and those that are not.
One of the advantages is that the NAACP is a civil rights-based organization. We deal with civil rights, but the NAACP has extensive mandatory training. That is required at the local level, that's required at the state level, that is required at the national level. National as well as the state sets the agenda, and I've been involved with the NAACP for 40 years. I was also fortunate to be an educator, to go to school with you, but we were trained. And there is a national 6-point plan, and they help us and train us and provide resources from we formerly had a Western Regional that's been merged, but for the Bixby Knolls, we were directed by legal counsel from national and from the state. So we don't just pick and choose, but to make sure that we protect the integrity of the organization, we go by civil rights guidelines and bylaws.
So while it's difficult, you do have the support of national and regional and the strong local leaderships to help in the causes of civil
and
rights.
The state that's led by Mrs. Alice Huffman. And we have section directors. I mean, the NAACP is a very formal, structured organization with guidelines and extensive training so that we stick true to the civil rights agenda.
One of the things I wanted to talk about here is voter registration, and you have an ongoing voter registration drive. But you know, we see low voter turnout, especially among African American youth. How are you combating that with the voter registration drive and education that you do?
We just went to the state conference where presidents were trained. Our training was voter registration boot camp, so that we talk about not just the members being encouraged, but to do active registration, to put funds and to apply for grants through the state. Mark Ridley Thomas has an extensive, well-recognized voter registration programs. The Secretary of State has grants and funds. So we're putting funding, not just expecting people to go out and volunteer, but we're putting funding, developing a structured plan, using NAACP voter empowerment and registration, and calling on the resources from national as well as the state, following the guidelines that they've set for each branch with a goal. Long Beach is responsible for registering 1,000 new persons this year. Before, there wasn't measurements. There was a plan, but we're being held more accountable.
Still, we have low voter turnout nationally. It's a national problem, not just a Long Beach problem. Despite the resources and effort that the NAACP and other organizations are doing, we still have low voter turnout.
You know, there's apathy, lack of hope. The other thing is promoting more education, working with our schools, working with other organizations, not working in isolations, and dealing with this in terms of all of us being personally being responsible, and going back when we could not vote.
Yes.
Not making, but trying to instill hope that your one vote can make a change.
Got to interrupt you. We only have a couple of minutes left. There's a couple of Black History programs going on. You got one, the collaboration, the 5-year collaboration you have with the Aquarium of the Pacific. Tell us about the African Heritage Festival that's coming up.
There will be an African American Heritage Festival February the 22nd and 23rd. Reggie Harrison, one of our assistant city managers, will be recognized for his incredible work in community service, especially his work with Men United in the NAACP that he chaired for several years in the NAACP. I believe you were one of those mentors and role models in that project. The other program that we're trying to bring about is Sharon and Dave McLucas of our community has an extensive African American collection that we feel not only the community but the communities at large should see. We are negotiating to promote that program, and Willie Brown's Basic Brown book tour in conjunction with California State University Long Beach.
You know, I have to say that I'm very proud of you. And we've been knowing each other for a very, very long time, and your tireless dedication working in NAACP, not only before you became president, but all the things you did with young people and in the high schools and middle schools that you've taught at. You've always gotten personally involved with these young people. And it's just NAACP presidency is just an extension of your passion for all people. We want to congratulate you for your work.
I thank you so much for having us on your show. And don't forget, the NAACP meetings are held the third Sunday of each month, and our meetings are held at the new Ernest McBride Center, the first park named for a local African American, and we're so proud. And the dedication will be the end of February. It will be officially dedicated. So 3 o'clock, the third Sunday of each month, the entire community is welcome, and we have some wonderful programs.
Thank you, Naomi Rainey. She's the president of the NAACP. The NAACP is in good hands. I know Ernie McBride was very proud of her. We are very proud of her and want to thank her for being on all sides and explaining what the NAACP does. Want to invite you back next week for some really nice guests on our program. We hope to have Josh Lowenthal to talk about what he does in the community. So good night and see you later.